The Egyptian Ankh, the cross with a loop at the top. For the ancient Egyptians, this was literally the symbol of eternal life. It appears in thousands of hieroglyphs, often in the hands of gods and pharaohs. The top loop represents the rising sun, while the cross below symbolizes the horizon. The gods used the Ankh to grant life to the dead. In funerary paintings, you see deities holding the symbol near the noses of mummies, transferring the breath of immortality. Kings were buried with pure gold Ankh amulets. Wearing this symbol guaranteed safe passage to the afterlife. But the exact origin of the Ankh remains a mystery to this day. Some Egyptologists believe it represents a sandal seen from above. Others say it's the symbolic union of the penis and vagina, life through reproduction. No one knows for sure. A 5,000-year-old symbol, we still debate its meaning. The Ankh was more than art. It was a promise of eternity, etched in stone, a constant reminder that death was only the beginning. Yin and Yang, the circle divided into black and white, each half with a dot of the opposite color. This is the philosophical foundation of Chinese Taoism. Yin represents darkness, feminine, and passivity. Yang represents light, masculine, and activity. Together, they form the Tao, perfect balance. This symbol influenced all of traditional Chinese medicine. Diseases were treated as imbalances between yin and yang in the body. Acupuncture, diet, exercise, all aim to restore harmony between these opposing forces. To this day, billions of people base their health on this 3,000-year-old concept. But many people misinterpret it. Yin and yang are not good and evil. They are not enemies. The opposing points on each side show that there is always a bit of one within the other. The symbol teaches interdependence, not conflict. There is no light without shadow, nor day without night. Yin and yang is visual wisdom, a reminder that opposites don't destroy each other. They complement each other. The Eye of Horus, a stylized eye with a teardrop below and a striking eyebrow. This was the most powerful protective amulet in ancient Egypt. Horus, the falcon god, lost his left eye in battle with Seth. Thoth, the god of wisdom, magically restored the eye. Therefore, it represents healing and restoration. Egyptian sailors painted the Eye of Horus on the hulls of their ships for safe navigation. It was placed in tombs to protect the dead. In medical prescriptions, doctors divided doses using fractions based on the parts of the Eye of Horus. Each piece of the symbol represented a mathematical fraction. It was science and magic combined. Interestingly, the Eye of Horus corresponds anatomically to the human brain. The eyebrow aligns with the frontal cortex, the pupil with the thalamus, the teardrop with the olfactory bulb. Coincidence? Unlikely. The Egyptians studied anatomy through mummification. They knew exactly what they were drawing. The Eye of Horus saw all, protected all, and healed all, a spiritual GPS from 4,000 years ago. Celtic knots, interlaced patterns with no beginning or end. The Celts of Ireland, Scotland, and Brittany created hundreds of variations of these knots. Each line folds back on itself infinitely, representing eternity and interconnection. There is no beginning point, no end point. These knots decorated sacred manuscripts, such as the Book of Kells, created by monks in the year 800. They appeared on jewelry, weapons, and stone monuments. For the Celts, everything was connected. Life and death, earth and sky, past and future. Knots were this visual cosmology. The more complex the knot, the more sacred the object. But most of the Celtic knots sold today are modern inventions. The original Celts left no written records of their meanings. Christian monks adapted the knots to represent the Holy Trinity. What we know about them is part archaeology, part speculation, and part 20th century marketing. Even so, the geometry is hypnotic. A maze you can follow with your eyes, but never quite complete. The tree of life, deep roots below, branches spreading in all directions at the top. This symbol appears in virtually every ancient culture. In Egypt, it was the tree of Isis and Osiris. In Norse mythology, Yggdrasil connected the 9 worlds. In Jewish Kabbalah, It represents the paths to understanding God. Always the same concept, a connection between heaven, earth, and the underworld. The roots symbolize ancestry and ancient knowledge. The trunk represents the present, firm, and growing life. The branches represent future possibilities and descendants. Together, they form a complete map of existence. Celtic families tattooed trees to represent lineage. Buddhists meditated under Bodhi trees, seeking enlightenment. The tree was both a portal and a map. But there's a botanical truth hidden here. Real trees communicate through their roots. Scientists have discovered fungal networks that connect entire trees, allowing nutrient exchange and even warning signals. Forests are collective organisms. The ancients were right. Trees really do connect everything. The tree of life is not a metaphor. It is a precise observation, dressed in symbolism. The Triskelion, 3 spirals connected at the center, spinning like a windmill. This 5,000-year-old Celtic symbol appears in Newgrange, Ireland, in a tomb older than the pyramids. 3 is the sacred number. Life, death, and rebirth. Earth, sea, and sky. Past, present, and future. The spirals represent eternal movement. The Celts associated the Triskelion with the sun and its movement across the sky. Some theories say the 3 spirals represent the 3 lunar goddesses. Others claim they represent the 3 Celtic social classes: druids, warriors, and workers. Since the Celts didn't write down their beliefs, each archaeologist has a different interpretation. But there's something mathematically perfect about the Triskelion. It has 120-degree rotational symmetry, rotated a third of the way around, and it looks identical. Our brains love this kind of symmetry. That's why the symbol has been adopted by French Brittany, Italian Sicily, and even the U.S. Department of Transportation. 3 spirals, 1,000 meanings, a single timeless design. The Ouroboros, the serpent biting its own tail. This symbol appears in Egypt in 1600 BC, but spread to Greece, India, and the Nordic civilizations. It represents the eternal cycle, destruction that generates creation, the end that becomes the beginning. The serpent simultaneously devours and renews itself. Medieval alchemists were obsessed with the Ouroboros. To them, it represented the philosopher's stone, the ultimate goal of alchemy. The serpent symbolized the process of transforming lead into gold, death into life, ignorance into wisdom. Carl Jung, in the 20th century, reinterpreted the Ouroboros as a symbol of the unconscious observing itself. But here's the problem. A real snake can't bite its own tail without breaking its spine. It's anatomically impossible. The Ouroboros is a biological fantasy, and perhaps that's precisely why it works. It represents something that can't exist in the physical world, only in the realm of ideas. A circle without beginning, an end that never ends. Pure paradox transformed into art. The Hamsa, an open hand with an eye in the center of the palm. This protective amulet is shared by Jews, Muslims, and Christians in the Middle East. In Judaism, it is called the Hand of Miriam. In Islam, it is called the Hand of Fatima. But everyone agrees, it protects against the evil eye. The evil eye is the belief that envy can cause real misfortune. Someone looks at you with jealousy, and bad things happen. The Hamsa reflects this negative gaze back to the sender. It's a portable spiritual shield. You hang it in houses, cars, and necklaces. The more eyes on the Hamsa, the stronger the protection. But there's a common confusion. Fingers up versus fingers down. Some say, that up brings blessings, down repels evil. Others claim it makes no difference. The truth? It varies by region and tradition. There's no such thing as a wrong Hamsa, except the one you don't believe works. A hand that belongs to no religion, but protects them all. The Dharmachakra, the wheel of Buddhist Dharma. 8 spokes, representing the noble eightfold path taught by the Buddha. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. This symbol is still on the Indian flag today. Buddha gave his first sermon in Sarnath, India, in 528 BC. This moment is called the turning of the wheel of Dharma. The wheel symbolizes that his teachings will spread throughout the world like a rolling wheel. And that's exactly what happened. Buddhism reached Tibet, China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Today, over 500 million practitioners. But here's the thing. The wheel never stops turning. It represents impermanence. Nothing is fixed. Everything changes. The same wheel that symbolizes the teachings also symbolizes that these teachings need to be constantly renewed. There is no final enlightenment, only the eternally turning wheel. 8 rays, 1 path, infinite liberation. The phoenix, the bird that dies in flames and is reborn from its own ashes. This symbol appears in almost every culture. In Egypt as Bennu, in Greece as Phoenix, in China as Fenghuang, in Russia as Firebird. The message is universal. Transformation through destruction. Greek legend tells of a phoenix that lives for 500 years, then builds a nest of spices, sets itself on fire, and is reborn 3 days later as a young bird. Christianity adopted the phoenix as a symbol of Christ's resurrection. Alchemists used it to represent spiritual transmutation. War-torn cities like Warsaw and Dresden chose the phoenix for their coats of arms. But no real bird behaves this way. The phoenix is pure metaphor. It exists only because we need to believe that new beginnings are possible, that the end is not the end, that we can emerge from our own ruins stronger than before. It's psychology dressed up as mythology. The phoenix isn't about the bird. It's about you surviving what should have destroyed you. If you liked this video, subscribe to the channel to don't miss the next episodes. Share with your friends and leave a like. And tell me in the comments, which of these symbols resonates most with you? Check out a bit of the next video. Eye of Horus, the stylized eye of the Egyptian falcon god, representing protection, healing, and royal power. Used in amulets for 5,000 years, it is one of the most recognizable symbols of ancient Egypt. You've probably seen it in jewelry, tattoos, book covers, but there's much more behind this iconic image. Thanks for watching. See you next time.